The Life Talk Show is about testimonies where you can listen to be inspired, encouraged, uplifted, and entertained. It's the life. Good morning. My name is Ashley Cotton, the host for the Life Talk Show. And as always, I have a guest with me, Brady Robinson. And before we get into who she is, when I read her bio, and of course, she tells us her story, you all know that this is about testimonies. It's based off of Revelation 12:11. This is the idea. This is my purpose, my kingdom assignment that God has given me to do. My story is that I was out in California. I was going to be a Hollywood starlet and actress, and I was actually doing background work as an extra on movie sets and television sets and just going on auditions because I thought that that was going to be the path, the plan that I had for myself, and God told me otherwise. While I was on the set of ER, he said, do a talk show about testimonies. And I was like, what? Okay. And so here we are. And that was back in 2010. And this is 2021. So God is so good and God is so great. And so I just want this to encourage you. I want you to be inspired to listen to the testimonies, listen to people's stories who come on and be as open and honest and transparent, because it's never easy to do when you're sharing a piece of yourself that no one knows about, not even your family, but only God knows. And nobody knows like God knows. So without further ado, Brady L Robinson is a published author, motivational speaker, and budget coach who pours into the lives of those desiring motivation and help with creating and sticking to a budget. Her recently published book, Your Power Within, You Have What It Takes, is a motivational piece which will show you how to walk in your purpose. Brady has worked diligently to create tools for success to help others meet their financial goals while staying motivated to walk in their purpose. After speaking to various audiences for many years and helping others to live on a budget, Brady knows the importance of staying motivated while reaching financial freedom. Brady serves in her community by doing outreach with various organizations, helping those in need. Previously serving as the board member of a nonprofit organization, Brady has built strong relationships with various businesses and other organizations that have helped impact the lives of others. She can be heard and seen on various radio shows, podcasts, webinars, and speaking and community events. Brady Robinson is a powerhouse who has created a business that empowers others to live the life they have always wanted. When she is not working, she spends time with her 2 children, serves actively at her church, and helping others to enhance their businesses. Brady is dedicated to using her life story to push others into walking into their purpose. Let's welcome Brady Robinson.
Hello, everybody. Hi, everyone. Thank you. I have been watching this show. I watched it I remember when you were going over to the station.
Fishbowl Radio Network. That's right.
To be here, to be on your platform now. I love that. So thank you, Ashley, for inviting me. I saw you. I was at the station about 2 years ago. Had to be 2 years ago because last year was
in 2019.
Yeah. So I remember seeing you, and I remember saying, I'm gonna get on her show. I just saw, because I saw the strength, and it was you. I didn't even know what your show was about. So that's an example. That's how I'm going to start off giving my testimony. You have to be careful how you carry yourself, because you don't know who you are impacting or touching or reaching. Now, this lady, Ashley, I had met her from, we shared a coach and just different other mastermind classes and events we've done, but I didn't know anything about Miss Cotton. But I saw her, and I saw strength. I saw power. I like power. If you notice in my bio, powerhouse, I like power because, hey, let's get her done. Let's just get it done.
Right.
And I said, I'm going to be on her show. And then here we go, May 1st, 2021. I'm excited. Okay. So I'm very excited, a lot of energy, but it's a blessing to be here, guys. My name is Brady Robinson, just like she shared with you. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about this little girl named Brady Robinson from Oak Cliff, Texas, from Dallas, Texas, born and raised in Oak Cliff. I am a native of Dallas. My mom is from Lawton, Oklahoma. My father was from Arkansas. In my mind, grew up as a middle class family, not really even knowing the different social classes or statuses then, but considered a middle class family. We were okay. My mother grew up extremely poor, like really poor, but she didn't know she was poor because everybody was poor at that time. Mm-hmm. My father grew up country boy in Arkansas, like literally, we're having chicken for dinner, go out there and wring the neck and kill the chicken. I mean, it was like that, the honey, all that kind of stuff. So they meet, they create me. Of course, both wanted a much better life. Now, she mentioned that my book, Your Power Within, You Have What It Takes. For me, that is a revelation. It was a revelation revealed because the moment you accept Christ, the moment you allow Christ to control and run your life, and you accept him as the son of God, you have everything you need to make it in this life. That is part of my platform to push people to greatness because you have what it takes. Mm-hmm. But we don't think we do. So I'm a budget coach. I love money. When I say I love money, I like to count it. I like to disperse it. I like to divide it up. But guess what? I'm not good with math. You see what I'm saying? That's why but it don't matter because if God give you a gift, it doesn't matter if you're skilled for it because it's going to come into fruition.
Exactly.
That doesn't even, everybody's like, why didn't you go to be an accountant? I don't do math, but I can count money and I can budget money. So how it started when I was a little girl, I remember my dad worked for the post office. And it was always, I saw my father he made really good money. He was a veteran. He was drafted. So we had some issues there because back then, when they got to their junior year in college, they were drafted. Okay.
Dang,
so
which means that they automatically have to go to war.
Right. And normally when they come back, they don't have the mindset to finish school. Okay, systematic. We're going to leave it there. So, and that happened so much, and it happened with so many of my friends in my age. I'm 44, by the way. So that was what was happening then. So he had a full ride scholarship to UAPB, basketball scholarship, junior year. I'm talking about the end of your junior year, you drafted. You have to go.
In high school.
He got that. And then he got a full ride, yes, to UAPB. Went to UAPB, University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff, to play basketball. His junior year, he was drafted. So he did it. So I'm bringing that in to share the point of he always taught me, always have something they can't take from you. Never have one form of income. He said, so if you lose your job today, how do you eat tomorrow? That's how he used to talk to me because he had a lot of anger and resentment towards the government for killing his plans. He had his plans mapped out. He would have been the first in his family to go to college,
Exactly. And let me just say this, Brady, too, because on the physical level, that's something that the government and everything did against him to rob him. But on the spiritual level, we know that the enemy comes in to steal, kill, and destroy. And the very fact that he would have changed the trajectory of your bloodline, of his bloodline, to be the first one to have a scholarship, to finish college, and to go off and pursue what God had him to pursue. And then here you come along that God said, I still have a plan. It still can be redeemed, but it's going to be redeemed through Brady and the bloodline.
Thank you, because I hadn't seen that. And I thank you. Oh, that is so monumental. You just did that because his word is going to be carried out.
That's right. It's not going to be returned void.
It will never go back void. Whether it goes out through Ashley, through Brady, his word is going to be delivered. What he said is going to be done. Like he said, if you don't cry out, the rocks will, honey. It doesn't matter. So you can stand firm and disobey if you want to. His word is going to be done. So my dad used to always say, have some money. So he worked at the post office. They had a lot of uniforms. All his friends had uniforms. So when I was about like 6 or 7, my mom taught me how to iron. And she used to get so tired of ironing all his clothes because she, back then, old school, she cooked. She did everything. All he did
Right.
was work and bring home the check and cut the yard. That's it. My mom did everything. So, of course, it was like, Brady, come on, you got to learn how to cook, learn how to do this. So I started ironing his shirts. His co-workers was like, dang, y'all going to the cleaners? How your shirt? He was like, Brady did it. So I started getting all of his co-workers' shirts. That was my job on Saturday and Sunday, to iron shirts. I ironed up a 50 cent a shirt back then, okay, 40 years ago. 50 cent a shirt. It started like that. Then at school, I was going to school and all the boys used to play pencil break. My sister worked at the bank and she would bring home all the pencils that they didn't want anymore, because after you sharpen them at the bank, they would just throw them out. She would bring them home. So I was the one selling the pencils, okay?
Hustler, okay? Hustler.
I used to watch them play pencil break, and then once there are no more pencils, the game is over, and the game was so fun. You're never gonna run out with me. So I would come and I would sell pencils for 25 cents. Now imagine this. Back then, you paying 25 cents to literally break a pencil and throw it away. Fine with me, that's fine. So then it went there. Then in the 4th grade, I had this bright idea of having a candy house. I said, I want a candy house. And my dad was like, okay, I'll buy your first batch of candy, but you got to pay me back. You have to save some. You have to give some to God. And then you got to figure out how you're going to re-up. And to me, I was like, well, I don't want to do it. How can I do that? Mind you, that's too hard. What do I do? And he said, figure it out. You'll figure it out. He bought me a box of Snickers and a box of Twix. It was not a Sam's Club back then. It was something. It wasn't a Sam's Club. And he bought it, and I never will forget. So I went to school, and I knew that I had to pay my dad back, because he was like, and he said, I want my money back. I want my money back. This is your hustle. I want my money back. Not knowing that he wasn't even going to take the money. But I was so scared that, okay, so I went to school. I had all this stuff in my backpack, told my teacher, I was like, hey, I'm selling candy. Back then it wasn't as many restrictions and rules. And I was selling candy. And I remember, it was like, he spent like $34. I will never forget, $34 on candy. I gave him back the $34. I had made like maybe a $15 profit. And I was discouraging the fee. And I was like, never mind, I don't want to do this because I don't even have enough money to buy my stuff, because I had to pay you back. And he said, welcome to real life, Brady. And I never will forget that conversation. He said, welcome to real life. So that means you go back in your room. Today we say we go back in the lab and you rewrite your plan. Right. The fact is, he said, but you did accomplish. The main thing is you paid your debt. And that was me. My debt was him. I did not like owing my dad. I didn't like knowing, because he was like, I need my money. I didn't know that he was bluffing, but he was teaching a lesson at the same time. You pay your debt. Pay your debt. My dad always said, be a man. A man is only good as his word. I heard that growing up. So for me, when people say they're going to do something and they don't do it, that's hard for me. It's hard for me to move forward with you. He always said, a man, because don't forget, he's drafted. He has nothing.
And I completely understand, Brady, because my dad went to the Marine. He's a Marine. So I grew up with a Marine in the house where he also said, your word is everything. And the lesson, your word is your bond. And I remember my father came to me and I was in my room. At this point, my sister because me and my sister were 7 years apart. She's older. And she had went away to Tuskegee University. So I was the one that was at home. So that means that the responsibility of keeping the kitchen clean and the house clean fell on me. Right. And so my dad knocked on my door and he said, there's some dishes in the sink. You need to go in there and wash the dishes. And I'm like involved in what I'm doing. So I'm like, okay, I'll wash them. I said, I'm washing. He said, don't go to bed without them dishes being washed tonight. And I said, okay, Daddy, I'm going to wash them. I'm like, love. And sure enough, I went to bed. I went to sleep. I was like, I'll get him in the morning. I'll get him tomorrow. I said, I'll get him tomorrow, right? He didn't come wake me up. He didn't do anything. The next day happened. And he's looking like, he's in the kitchen. He looking and he said, Ashley. And I was like, yeah. He was like, where you think you going? Where you going? Because I was going to go out or whatever. I think it was like the weekend or something. And he was like, where you think you going? And I was like, I'm not going. He said, come here, let me show you something. So I knew it was the kitchen. I knew it. Okay. And he pulled me in the kitchen. He said, look at this. And he said, what did you tell me last night? Yeah. And of course, conviction. And I felt bad. And he was like, because he didn't yell at me. He didn't raise his voice. Oftentimes he will always talk, but when he talked, it was like, okay. And so he said, you told me that you were going to do something and you didn't do it. And I was like, he said, no. He said, I don't want to hear your excuse.
Right.
You told me something that you were going to do and you didn't do it.
Come on.
And so therefore, since you didn't do it, you're not going outside, but I can't trust you at your word.
I can't trust you. Right.
And that hurt me.
That
hurt. Because I was like, oh, Daddy. And he said, and I was like, okay, I'm going to clean up. And I went ahead and I washed the dishes and I cleaned them and did what I had to do. But at that point, I had to earn it. I had to earn back that if I said something to my daddy, I had to make sure that I followed through and I did it, because his whole thing was, and that was with anybody across the board. If you tell me you're going to do something, you better do it. And let me tell you, people got cut off because they didn't keep their word to him.
But as it should be. And I think just, you know, as a society today, look at the young people today, the millennials today, they don't have that. They make empty promises. They don't keep their word. I noticed that even in ministry, I'll schedule somebody to be a volunteer. Oh, I forgot. I mean, I don't think the whole keeping your word is being taught as heavily as it was when you and I were coming up.
Yeah.
I don't think so. I'm so grateful that you and I got those lessons. But guess what? That makes it hard for us when we meet other people that weren't raised like that. Because to me, if you say you're going to do something, if you tell me, I really believe you're going to do it. So maybe I'm naive for believing you, but I trust your word. You said it. I didn't tell you to say that. You
And in the Bible, it says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. Don't sit up here and be like, I swear, like, you don't have to do no song and dance with me. You don't have to do a song and dance for me, but just follow through on what it is that you're going to do, because you said that you were going to do it. And at that point, I'm not going to even sit up here and call you up like, you said that you was going to do X, Y, Z. Why you ain't do it? I'm just going to say, okay. And keep it moving.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's how I started out. This is my story for how I just got into like the budgeting and helping people with their money. I like helping people with their money. So kind of fast forward my father this. Hey guys, thank you for letting me come on and tell my story for the very first time. Age 10, my father, we had a halt. My father was murdered. My father was killed. Okay. My parents were separated. I was spending the weekend and I didn't want to, I was spending the weekend. I was a daddy's baby. So I spent the weekend with him. It was summertime. I'll never forget. June 5th is when it happened. June 5th. And I spent the weekend. My mom said, you got to come home. I said, well, Mom, can I say one more? Come on, let me stay a few more days, please. Okay, Brady, come. You need to get your hair done. Because back then we would get our hair braided up for the summer, with the beads and all that stuff.
I had beads in my hair.
Especially if you're going to be staying with family for the summer, so your mom didn't have to worry about your hair all over your head. So she was like, you got to get your hair done, Brady. I don't want you over there looking all bad or whatever. No problem. I said, Mom, so the next time, no, I want to stay. I stalled her for 2 weeks. Finally, she's like, Brady, I can't have you over there looking crazy. You got to come get your hair done. I'm picking you up. I'll bring you back and you can come back. He got killed that night. Had my mother not picked me up, I would have been there in the house because it was a familiar person. Okay. So this is live on air, and this is my first time talking about it, and I feel so free with sharing this, guys. If you guys need to get your story out, please consider the Ashley Cotton Show, please, the Life Talk Show, please. I'm telling you, because I feel lighter as I speak. So he was murdered. We go through all of that, but I knew it was a reason why I kept begging to stay. Now, what if I wouldn't have begged to stay? I got to spend the last 2 weeks like with him, just like this. We was doing everything, going out to eat. We was hanging because they had hit a rough patch. They separated, which they used to hit rough patches all the time. Yeah. But this time was different. And we were just inseparable. Me and my dad, we were doing everything, just going swimming and doing. So of course I'm looking like a bushwick because my hair all over my head. And my mom is like, you are making me look bad. You need to get your hair done. And she made me. I said, Mama, please, one more night. Please, I beg. She said, Brady, no, you got to come home. I don't feel right with you staying like that. Do you know that night somebody came in and killed him in his sleep? Shot him in the back of the head. Now, mind you, this was back then. So when I stayed over at my dad's house, I slept with him. That was my daddy. Yeah. Nothing. That's just what we did back then. I know that may not be appropriate today, but that was my daddy. Yeah, they were separated, so he had a 1-bedroom apartment. So, hey, I'm gonna go get in the bed with my daddy. In
Yeah.
his sleep in the bed. Okay, so that's what I'm saying, guys. But guess what? I'm still here. I didn't process it and understand. I was like 10 or 11. I think I was 11. So fast forward to freshman year in high school is when it hit me. Nobody talked to me about this death. I remember the funeral. I remember clear as a bell. I remember the funeral. I remember driving because we had to have the wake here and then we had to drive to Arkansas to burn. I remember doing all that. But I don't remember anybody talking to me about death. And in our
Mm.
generation, in our culture, we tend to not talk to our children about real life stuff because we
Yeah.
feel like stay in a child's place or get out of grown folks' business, or
Be
we tend to.
seen, not heard.
Right.
Yeah.
I knew that when they start talking, I just walk out the room. I knew that. And but nobody ever talked to me about it or process. Thinking back, I should have been put in counseling immediately.
Wow.
Think
Wow.
about that.
Thinking back for something, because that's trauma that happened.
Right, for real. If that would have happened to Manny, you have him in counseling in 2 weeks.
Yeah, we would have talked about it.
You have, or at least talked about it. I never had a conversation about it. So it wasn't real to me that he really wasn't coming back. I didn't really get that. I had never been to a funeral before. I didn't know. I had never experienced it. So I was just like, okay. I remember at the funeral, I didn't cry. I remember walking around, making sure my mom was okay, making sure everybody was okay. Now, listen to what I'm saying, because this is my story, how I've had to redirect myself, walking around, taking care and making sure everybody was okay. You need anything? You okay? I can get you this, because that's just how I was raised. Not realizing this was my time to grieve. This was my time to grieve.
And
They
how old
should
were
have
you?
11.
11.
They should have catered to me. I'm the child, okay? No problem. So we don't know. So we go to freshman year. Freshman year, you hit that 13, 14. It was horrible. Me and my mom at war. That girl, that teenage thing, that
Yeah.
girl. So I remember we just started bumping heads, but I was always daddy's baby. Always. I didn't fool with her too much. I didn't have to, because we were just like this. My daddy was the homeroom parent. He was the one to come to the school. He did everything because he worked at the post office, so he had really good hours. He was the hands-on. My
Yeah.
mom was at home. My mom was at home. She was the at home. Your meal's gonna be cooked, your clothes gonna be clean, your house gonna be clean. And that's what she didn't have purpose and platform like we do, Ashley, today. But
Wow.
that was her goal. Her goal was to be a good wife and raise her children. And I'm just so glad that we've evolved from all that. We rose above that, because that was her goal. And that's what she wanted. She was happy with that. So me and him, we hung out. We were like this. I was his only child. I have other siblings. My mom had my sisters and brothers with their dad, but I was the only child for my dad, and I'm the
Hmm.
youngest of all my siblings. So fast forward. Okay, so we go to freshman year. Freshman year, I'm just like, just rebellious, and I don't even know why. And I'm thinking everybody's writing it off. Oh, she turning 13, she 14, she a teenager. Ella, that's my mom thing. Ella, how they do, and they talk back. But we just wrote it off as the typical teenage girl things. But I see now it was not that. It's more to it than that. Y'all, let's not label entitled what these kids are going through as a generic. Don't do that, because, yeah, the average teenage girl, ninth grade, I'm sure we all had that fast point where we fast and we know, we want a boy.
Right.
But if you look deeper, it wasn't that. I remember I was sitting in class and I was like, my daddy not coming back. This is a freshman year. Now, he died years ago. And it just hit me my freshman year. So freshman year, that's when I went in beast mode. I need a job, because my daddy was the provider. My mom didn't have to work. My daddy was provider. He did everything. When my dad, I was like, I gotta get a job. Who gonna take care of us? That's how I was thinking. I thought it was my job to take care of my mom. I always saw her taken care of. So my freshman year, I got a job. I got a job before my freshman year, 7th to 8th grade summers. So I've been working a long time. That's all I know, because in my mind, oh God, my dad died. What we gonna do? I didn't know nothing about Social Security or getting his benefit. I didn't know nothing about. All I knew is he's gone, no more money. So I went into a money mindset mode of work, 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 work. By at age 14, I had 2 jobs. I was babysitting. This lady had 5 kids. She was a single parent. I would babysit, spend the night, then leave there, and then I would work at McDonald's. My mom would let me as long as if my grade slipped, I had to quit my job. So that's how I started. So then my friends, We all working. We got our little, part-time jobs and the game coming up this weekend and we're going to go to the skating rink or whatever. And my friends could never save their money till the weekend. And I didn't understand that. This is how I didn't even know God was developing me to be a budget coach at that time. I was just good with money. My friends called me tight or cheap. I just didn't want to spend my money because I knew you said you said we're going to the skating rink Saturday. I don't want nothing to stop me financially to be able to get to the skating rink. We get to the skating rink. I'm looking around. My friends don't have any money, but we all got paid at the same time. What happened? I learned really quickly that people could not budget or they did not know how. They had not been taught. My mom was real old school. She was one of she write it down to the T. Her checkbook register back then, the paper checkbooks, she write it balanced to the penny. I was always told, always know how much money you have. If you don't know how much money you have, people can steal it from you. That's what my dad used to say. If you don't know how much money you have, people can steal it from you. And people know when you don't know how much money you have. They can tell. And so I was always afraid of that. So I always was a very good steward of my money. When I started getting an actual job where I had a W-2, my mom, even with the basic, my mom required me to pay tithes. Now, mind you, I'm 12, 13. I just wanted to get a job so I could get my own phone line so I could talk on the phone in my room. Remember those days? And she was like, but they had all these rules. And I just felt I was so angry because all my friends get to get their whole check and go blow it. I never have been able to do that. I was so mad that they were making me be responsible. Wait a minute. I was so mad about that. So she was like, you can work, but in my house, you're going to pay the tithes. You're going to pay your tithes and you're going to give me something. And I didn't know. So she was like, give me $10. I thought that was so evil. So I didn't know she was saving it up for me. I didn't know. I was furious. I was mad. I was angry. And we were bumping heads because I felt like she was taking my money because back then my check wasn't that much, $70 for 2 weeks or something like that. And so I got to pay $7 for tithes and I got to give her 10. And I'm like, you get more than God. Wait a minute.
You get more than God.
You get more than God. Who are you? She said, well, you in my house.
Okay, she said that pump your brakes because listen, this food and these lights ain't for free.
She said you want to work, and because she did tell me you don't have to work. So working is a privilege because your grades will stay up, your chores will be done. So don't let work interfere with your grades and your chores. My mom was real big on chores, but I'm so grateful for these lessons because it taught me how to balance it. Because too many of my friends would check out, well, I got to go to work, so I can't wash dishes. No. You just because you work, you still got to take care of stuff at home too. So I learned that. So then I started my friends with the skating rink. We were playing all this stuff, and I would save my money because by the time after my mom got done, I had about $40 left. I mean, I didn't have much. And my friends get to go spend the whole paycheck. I was so angry. I was so mad about that, and I thought it wasn't fair. And I was like, we just bumped head. My mom bumped head, and I remember us getting into it really bad. And she threatened to call the girls' home. It was a girls' home, and I don't know if you're familiar in Pleasant Grove, Buckner Children's Home. Well, I went to Skyline. I was at Skyline High School. Buckner Children's Home was down the street. At this point, I was so angry and I was so defiant. But I was always very respectful to my mom, so I never talked back. Which is why I was defiant, so angry because I didn't have a voice. I wasn't allowed to speak up for myself. I was told. Whenever I tried to, why are you being so defensive? Don't talk back. That's rude. You know what I'm saying? I never had a voice. To this day, my mom apologizes to this day because I always tell her if you take a child's voice, they may never get it back. How that hurt me in my life. For example, jobs, your boss fussing at you and talking to you, and you scared to speak up for yourself because you weren't allowed to do that as a child. Don't take these babies' voices. You train them to speak in a respectful way. But I tell my kids, even against me, if I'm wrong and I'm saying, why did you knock that over? Why did you do? If you didn't do it, stop me. Excuse me, mom, excuse me, but I didn't do that. I give them permission to do that. I couldn't do that. I wasn't allowed to do that. I get a whooping. You can't. In my era, we were not allowed to speak up for ourselves, to defend ourselves. I surely wouldn't interrupt my mom and tell her, you're wrong, I'm right. So it was a lot of tension going. But see, I could talk to my dad. He was like, yeah, he didn't fuss. He just talked. laid back.
Yeah.
My mom was a fusser like me, women, because we everything's on us inside the home.
Yeah.
So I went and freshman year, we had, oh gosh, I remember, I can see it vividly. I remember she said, I called a lady from Buckman's Children's Home. They're coming to get you at 5. I said, I was so happy. I was like, good, I'm ready to go. I went in my room and I packed my stuff up. I didn't know my mom was calling my bluff. The people never showed up. So I asked, I'm sitting there and I'm kind of half scared to ask, are they coming or not? But I got my backpack and I'm thinking it's going to be on and popping. I'm going to go. Now, who wants to go to a children's home? Duh. Think about it. Mind you, no, but still, now this sophomore year now, nobody thought to talk to this little girl about her dad. Still, nobody ain't seen it.
Wow. So Brady, all the attitude and what looks appear to be disrespectful and just working and doing everything, all that stemmed from losing your dad and hurting. And one of the things that I, say here on this platform, as well as in my book, His Life, My Testimony, is that when you see people acting out, children, teenage, adults, even grown adults as well, when you see them acting out and they may be drinking, drugging, fornicating, being promiscuous, or just trying to do life by themselves on their own in survival mode, there's a root to that.
It is.
There's a root that you can trace wherever that first trauma has hit. There's a root there, and you can trace it throughout the entire life until it's being dealt with. One of the things that, I've had to deal with and walk through to be delivered and to be healed from and set free from it is that I was walking around with trauma, didn't realize it, didn't know it, from 3 years old to 32 years old of baggage.
Yeah. I mean, like, for real. And we know nobody ever stopped to say, Ashley, what happened? Or let's get to the bottom of it. And if we do that, that's why I'm so intentional with my children. You saw before the show started, son, I mean, this, and this. I have to, because there wasn't, and I'm not, no shade to my mom. She was doing what everybody did in that time. Nobody, no kids could speak up. Nobody could. We just knew we would consider, you would be disrespectful. That's considered being grown or fast. And they wouldn't let, we just didn't do that. So the lady never came. And we weren't seeing eye to eye. We're in church. My mom has me in church, always raised me in church. She had everybody talk to me. Go talk to the pastor. Go talk to this. But still, even the pastor, nobody ever correlated to, could it be the death of her father? They thought I was just going through those teenage growing
pains.
Yeah. That's why I'm so grateful where we are today, that I just think, in all fairness, I think it was missed because counseling and therapy was not common in the early 90s, late 80s. And that's just how I've had to make peace with it, because there was a time where I was angry with my mom. I'm talking about as an adult, that why didn't you get me help? I was pissed. I was angry. I was hurt. I left that church because the pastor didn't recognize it. You see what I'm saying? So guys, y'all got to help people at the beginning, because I done left the church. I'm mad at my mama. All of this could have been avoided had I channeled it correctly or processed to make sense of what's going on. I didn't know. I just know that she wanted me to talk to everybody. Now he in my business. As soon as I was grown enough to leave the church, I left. You know what I'm saying? Because I felt like he didn't help me. Nobody talked to me. Nobody helped me. Not only that, just the person that killed my dad, I knew him. You know what I'm saying? I knew him. And he tried to molest me before because he was hanging out with my dad. I'm saying this on this show. I've never even told this to my mama. Today, 2021, she still don't know, because I still don't know how to tell her. 44, she's 79. This is real. Ashley, you need to keep this show going, because maybe I can just play this show for her.
Okay, now wait a minute now. Okay, let me process.
You said let's get real. Here it is.
Let's get real and let's be transparent about it. But I just need to process.
Yesterday, and I told you, I said I've never done this, and I remember I was so excited. If I didn't get it out on your show now, I wasn't gonna do it, because I'm not telling this story no more.
Yeah, and I can certainly relate to you, Brady, because I got molested at 3 years old.
I mean, but the guy that killed your dad.
Yes, exactly. The man who killed your dad and then tried to molest you as well. That's
and nobody knows this. No one knows it but you now.
So now I got to switch gears, because now this is not just a talk show, but this is ministry as well. This is my ministry that God has called me to. So my whole thing is deliverance and freedom. So now I have to switch gears. So Brady, at this point, because you're 44 years old, you haven't even had this conversation with your mom.
No, I tried the other day. I tried to 2 weeks ago. I said, Mama, because we were talking, because she talks about, we talk about how things were happening in the past and how now I'm raising my children, because she's like, don't fuss at them so much. Don't be so hard at them, on them. I see the mistakes I made by being that way, and don't do it. She said, you can't see it. I said, Mama, so much happened to me. And I really don't think she want to know. I said, so much happened to me when I was younger that you don't even know about, because I was scared to tell you, because I thought I would get in trouble. I thought you would believe them, because she was the mother. If the teacher called, I get a whooping. I didn't even get to tell you what happened. I mean, you just take her side.
Okay, Brady. So at this point, do you still feel like you don't have a voice with your mom, or are you at the place where you can talk to your mom and begin to just pull the layers, just not all at once, because you don't want to overwhelm her, and then the very fact that you may not know how she's going to take because the thing is that if you just said that she may not even want to know, because there's going to have to be accountability and responsibility, and that guilt is going to be very heavy.
Okay, so considering that she is 79, I give her a lot of grace. When I do talk to her, I find myself getting angry or trying to be like, well, I did this, or if that was me, you would have popped me in my mouth. I find myself acting like that a lot. And I think I don't know. I mean, and then when I tried to, I said, it's a lot. And I said, Mom, it's a lot of stuff that happened to me that you don't even know about, because I was scared to tell you. And if I told you, it would blow your mind. You'd have no clue, and it's not good. She didn't say yes, no, okay. She was dead silent. So do you want me to tell you or what? I don't know. But like you said, she's 79. Y'all have to remember, you have to think like Jesus meet people where they are. Think about her mindset in that era. For her, it's kind of like, what I don't know won't hurt me. Because like you said, then once she know about it, so now what? Because it's accountability. Where were you? So in all fairness, it was when I was spending those 3 weeks with my dad is when it happened. But I didn't tell her that because I didn't want her to make me go home.
So wait, in the 3 weeks that you were with your dad, that man who murdered your dad, he molested you.
Yes, and my dad, like, he helped everybody. And back then, everybody was moving from Arkansas to Dallas to get a better life or a better job. He came from Arkansas, hey, been knowing a younger guy. My dad was trying to help him to give him a job, let him stay there, whatever. And that's the same man that killed my father.
Have you done any forgiveness?
I have, and I did counseling and therapy, because let's go on with the story, because I went down that road. I mean, so I graduated high school. I have a lot of energy, high strung, life of the party, kicking it, partying, and start partying too hard. And I started selling drugs. I started selling dope, because don't forget, I love money, right? I'm money, money, money. Come on. And I get with this guy I didn't know he was selling drugs. I had no clue. He went to jail, and he called me from jail. I cannot believe I'm telling all this. Oh Lord, but
it's therapeutic and it's healing.
At this point, who cares? I mean, baby, I'm not bound by that anymore. I'm free. So he go to jail. Right. Come on, he go to jail, and he called me, and he said, "Go look on top of the refrigerator. It looked like a sugar cookie. Break it in half, and you should get X amount of dollars for each half." And I was like, okay. So I called the person that's supposed to get it. And I was like, I just made $300, and that blew my mind. What? And and by this time I have a great job. I had finished college, all that stuff. I made more money in 10 minutes than I do for 2. I mean, really blew my mind. So I said, so he called back. I was like, yeah. I was like, I don't believe. I had never seen crack. I don't know. I ain't green, but I be around all that. I like to party and kick it. And it started like that. So then I get crafty, call the person, get more, and I'm making the pieces smaller and making more money. He comes home from jail, and he's like, how did you make, he's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? How did you get this much money? And I was like, you selling your stuff too big. That's too big. Break it down. They still buying it from me. And it went like that.
Brady, wait a minute, Brady.
Children's ministry leader. Thank you, Lord, that I did not get caught up and I ain't got no background on that. Thank you, Lord, because God take care of you. Thank you for sparing me. But yeah, there was a moment in my life because I love money. Like, but I'm not money hungry where it's a back. For me, I hoard money. I'm not a spender. You're either a spender or a saver. Okay, get my book. You're either a spender or a saver. I'm a saver. So I'm the one that will have thousands of dollars sitting in the savings account, and because it's in my savings and I need gas and I refuse to touch my savings, I'll sit there with no gas. See, that's not good though, because you have to find that balance.
Right.
I hoard money. And why? And that's why I had to do counseling, because why are you hoarding money? You didn't come from poverty. You didn't come from poor. You used the money. But I am a strong saver. I'd rather save than go eat. No, I'm not buying that because it's money in my savings. And what are you saving for? And then for me, once I get the dollar amount that I want to save to buy the item I want, I can't buy it. Because I don't want to start over. It's hard for me. It's hard. People have to make me go buy something. But with everybody else, I give you the shirt off my back. So listen to what I'm saying, to how I'm treating myself. But Ashley, me and you go out. It's your birthday. I'm going to ball out for you. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to buy you this. I'm going to throw you a party. But I won't even buy myself an outfit. Think about what I'm saying. Are you
hearing because I am hearing it, because it goes back to taking care of everyone else at your dad's funeral and not taking care of you, but no one being able to have a spirit of discernment to see into you, to see your heart, to say, still to this day.
Yeah, still to this day. When I get off of this show, I have another show, and then I'm going to get my kids. We all need new phones, but guess how many phones I'm buying? 2, because I ain't gonna buy myself one. Why don't it's still that way. I take care of people and I treat you good. And that's what I do. I love lavish. I will spoil you, rain down on you. But for me, I don't need nothing. I just feel like I don't need nothing. So I'm okay.
But you do need something.
But I don't feel like I'm lacking anything.
Right. But you do need something, Brady. And even though you feel like you're not lacking anything, because now my next question is, do you feel worthy of it? Do you feel worthy of the phone? And it's not so much the material thing, but do you feel worthy of the self-care of Brady?
I must admit, I don't know that area well. Self-care is not a strong point for me. And I've never seen the importance of it. And I'm baffled and I'm blown away by those women that do that. I mean, that is so good. But then I look at it like, but your kids. I put Brady, my kids first.
Let me ask you this question. Do you know your identity regarding the father, regarding your relationship with him?
Right, yes.
Yes. So do you see yourself the way that the father sees you?
I don't know, but I do. My mindset, in my mind, I'm a strong believer. I just said this, that I believe I have everything I need and 95% of what I want. And maybe because I don't ask for a lot, my wants aren't probably, my list isn't as long as the normal. I'm content, and I had to get there. My mom did used to all my life. Her favorite person was Paul, and all your ways be content. That was drilled in my mind, be content. But I never could accept that because I always wanted more and wanted better. But when it comes to spending money on myself, that's very hard for me. And I don't feel bad when I don't. I don't know what that's about. I don't feel bad when I don't. But I'm like, if I were to take you shopping, I like that. I like stuff with my kids, all that. Now, I do pick up little stuff here and there, but far as no, I am not going to go buy myself the iPhone 12. I can't do it. And have the money for it, but I just can't do it.
What's the one thing, Brady, that you think about for yourself that you can say, I really would want that. I really would like that?
Well, right now, I'm toiling over because I turned 45 in October. So check with me in October because I'm really pushing myself to make this happen. I want to buy myself a new car, and I'm at the position to where I can do it. So why not do it?
Okay. So
And
your
I do.
45
I
birthday
want a
is
car to
coming
say
up.
45. I want a car. I'll tell you, I would like a BMW. I'm
Okay.
looking at the BMW X5, and I'm one of those person. I'm such a calculated spender. I've researched everything. I look, the reviews, the how big is it on inside. Why? Okay, you got all the information you need, Brady. I information hoard. Why don't you go buy it? I don't know. I'm just, I
Okay,
can't.
so Brady, here's the challenge for you. Do it. No, seriously, do it. Do it.
I am. And I'm really in here, and I know that it's gonna happen before October because I'm getting closer and closer. So now it started with just looking online. Now I'm going to the lots. So I don't know what that's about. I can't just okay. I'm gonna go spend. I have to work up on it. I'm very slow to spend, and I know that they all came back. Like it started. I know exactly when it started taking care of everybody else, not being allowed to speak up for yourself, not having a voice. That can damage a person. Don't silence your children. Please don't do that. Because some children never get their voice. I got my voice back now, but to answer your question earlier, no, I don't have it to my mom because I let her make it like, well, she's 79, she's almost 80. She got more, we've had more life together than we have left. So I let her have it and I let her have that, especially when I've tried to bring it up and she don't open that door or invite me to come in. I don't know if that's fair to put that guilt on her in her last days. What do you think?
It got to be dealt with.
And you're
Peace.
right because my siblings say that too. They say the same
It
thing. It's a
has to
lot of
be,
issues that she needs help with.
because what happens, and that we see this a lot of times, Brady, what
Uh-huh.
happens when she's lying, God forbid, no time
Yeah,
soon.
right.
But what happens when she's lying on her deathbed and her life is flashing before her eyes? And it's so hard for her to make the transition to return back to the Father, to go back to her home
Yeah.
because of the burdens, because of the guilt, because of all the things, because it's going to come up. It is. Have you, like, my mother's in the nursing field. She's a dialysis nurse. So she's encountered death and everything,
Yeah.
life and death right
Right.
there. And one of the things that I remember her saying when we lived in Chicago, and she says today, one of the things that you can do is to give people permission to pass away.
Yes.
She said that her patients lay on the bed and they can't even die properly. They can't even, oh, death, where is your sting? Because there's something still there. And she said they have said to her, I can't die. I can't go away because of my children. What are my children going to do? I can't leave. And she's like, you got to get to the root of it. You got to make peace. And you have to be able to say, I surrender this all to him, because they're going to be taken care of and they're going to be okay because of their heavenly Father, whether they know it or not. Right. So Brady, it may be difficult, but at this time, at 44 years old, and you will be 45 in October, Brady, the cycles, the trauma, the bondage, because it's there.
Yeah.
You got to deal with it and you have to face it. And one of the things is that my trauma of being molested, my voice being taken away, had to go see a child psychiatrist.
Yeah.
And being told that I'm retarded.
At least you got help though as a child, so that you didn't linger long as I did.
Right. But still, Brady, my voice was taken away. But still, it happened to the point where God had to bring it in front of me at 32 years old. At 32 years old, I was pregnant with my son. He said, if you don't deal with this, that generational curse is going to fall on your son. And it was painful. And I had to go to a Christian counselor, and I had to unpack all the way from childhood.
Wow.
And at 32 years old, I had to come to my mother, because during our relationship of being a teenager, growing pains and all of those things that we encounter, my attitude, it was resentment towards my mother, because I was left in her trust. But she was young. She was in her 20s, maybe early 30s, but she wanted to have a good time, right? She wanted to go out with her girlfriend, left me behind at the house of people who we're familiar with, family. And it happened where I was vulnerable and left to my own devices. An idle mind is the devil's playground, because I was bored and I was just sitting there, not unattended. And I ended up wandering down to the basement to find a man laid out with stale alcohol on his breath, and he molested me. And my voice was taken away where I couldn't even communicate and talk. I was coherent. I knew what was going on around me. But the acting out and me being loudmouth and angry and mad and even resentful to my mother, who didn't even know what happened to me, because I couldn't verbalize then. I was molested. I was violated. Something happened to me. So, Brady, at this point, I don't know how and when, but creating an intimate, safe, quiet environment between you and your mother to begin to unpack those things for you to fully have your voice. And when I say fully have your voice, because verbally I hear you.
Right.
Verbally, you're speaking words. But what's your book say? Wait a minute. Let me
your power within you have what it takes.
Okay. Is that your book? Yes, your power within you, Brady, your voice, fully, completely, wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no way to slice it and dice it, because I only have it. It's $9.50, so we got to wrap this up. But the thing is this, that it's going to have to happen, and it's going to have to happen soon. Right. And my prayer is that for your mother, that she will be able to be open and receive, and hopefully that with both people involved, you and your mother, that there's no guilt and there's no shame and there's no defeat because of Jesus Christ, because it's being subjected to him and it's being surrendered to him. But wholeness, communication, it has to happen.
Ashley, we have to do a part 2, because I want to take that challenge and talk to her, because I'm ready to talk to her, but I don't know if she's ready to receive it. So here's what we do in our family. If I can't get to you, I'll write you a letter. Back in the day, write letters. And maybe that's a way. But we have to have a part 2, because the story gets deeper. After the whole selling drugs, then it's a whole nother chapter, and we're gonna have to finish this. And what I found was the whole chasing money was chasing after my dad, because he was such a provider and so wealthy, and that's what it came to, and it got me in trouble, big trouble. So we fast forward. You know what I'm saying? I'm out here hanging in the streets. Mind you, I've always been in church, all that. But I'm hanging in the streets. I'm working in my job at Citigroup, making a big salary and selling drugs. Why? You don't even have no kids. Why are you doing that? For what? You did not need the money. You don't even spend money on yourself. So what you do? So just hoarding money, hoarding, piling money. And then it goes to, so then you start smoking weed, you're hanging out. Well, for me, it did. It goes there.
Yeah.
It's a whole different chapter. Then I had my daughter at 32. I was 32. I got pregnant at 32, 33, my first child. So that was considered late in life. My son at 35. And that's when my life, once I became a mother, I fought it. My pregnancy with my daughter, I partied till I went in labor on the streets. I'm telling you, because I did not want it. My idea was to be married. I wanted what my parents, this wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't even want kids. I said if I had kids, it would be because my husband begged me to have one, and it has to be a boy. But God has a whole nother plan for your life. So I pulled back. Okay, street life's too bad for me. That's taking me too fast. That's not my thing. You won't raise ghetto. That's not your thing. Your mama broke her neck to keep you out of it, and you running over here. So I wake up. Okay, reality sets in. I'm a mother now, and 360 hit rock bottom, because I'm not selling drugs no more. I'm acting a fool out there selling drugs, so I'm calling in to work because I don't need work, because I'm making money, get pregnant, and get fired while I'm on maternity leave. Who does that? Because I went back late because I didn't want to go back. It's a whole story. So that's how the budget coach came into play, because I went from a whole bunch of money, I'm talking about thousands, tens of thousands, with no kids, to absolutely nothing, and a 500 credit score, nothing. I've had a car since I was 14 because I bought it myself, and then to lose everything. And why I gotta lose it when I had a kid? So I panic, and I tell her that look, we have options. And I'm speaking, you said be transparent, but I said, look, we have options. I have insurance. I can get an abortion for $20. What's up? Are you going to do this or not? Because for me, I'm pro-choice. This is where I was. I know it may not be right, but I'm being honest with y'all. So
yeah, and there's no judgment. And understand that there's no judgment, because life happens and no one is exempt from life. We make poor choices.
Yeah.
We really do, until we come into the full knowledge of Jesus Christ and who we are in him, that we get a new mindset, that we become new, and that old way of thinking, that old way of doing things,
gone. Right.
It's gone. Because there's transformation
to take place. It's a huge hopefully we get to, hopefully you invite me back and we'll finish this, because life, you got to hear about life with Brady as she had kids, because the life with Brady before kids was a party. It was traveling, kicking in Hawaii, Jamaica. Every weekend I'm here, I'm doing this, no kids. Living in Las Colinas out there with the cowboy. I had a loft in Valley Ranch. It was wonderful, balling. And then I get pregnant. And this was not in the plans. And me and you not even working out. And I don't even want this. And you're not helping me, and I lose everything. I can't afford my little loft in Las Colinas anymore. I lost my car. And I'm angry again, and I'm bitter again. But this little baby, I never just grabbed my heart, and I just softened. Oh my God! You couldn't have told me I was gonna be no mama, girl. That wasn't in the plan. No, I had my, and now I'm like, suffer mom, PTA, Mike, I will kill you over my kids. I mean, it's amazing. Like, I couldn't imagine life without them. They made me better. They made me you playing, get off your butt. Quit tripping. You out here trying to be a dope dealer, and it ain't even you, and you finna get in the penitentiary. You better sit down. Everything happened for a reason. And to completely walk away from that life, it was devastating, because the streets call you. They want you back. They want you back. But when you put your foot down and say, no, I don't have that problem, I pray that God take that desire from me. I ask him to take the desire of hoarding money from me. Take that away, because you can be greedy with money. You can be greedy. Even though I was paying tithes, but you're selling drugs for what? Why? You have a job. And I'll leave it right there, and we can finish at another. Ashley, I'm going to have to talk to you out on the side, baby, because it's a lot. Like Freddie Hayes said, it get gooder and gooder.
And you know what, Brady? I greatly appreciate your honesty.
I've never done this, and I don't know who's watching it. I don't know who sees this. I don't care. I feel funny. I feel bubbly inside, but kind of scared. But I don't care who sees it. This one, I don't care. I can't care, because that's the problem. I've been hiding and keeping clean and trying to create this little children's ministry leader and perfect mom for so long. I don't care.
And you know what? I'm gonna talk to you after this show, because the Father did present something in my spirit, like, ask if you can sit in or somehow meet you all together. I
just about that too. When you said that, it's amazing you just said that, because my thought was, I would love for my mom to do this show, because that's who got a story. Because don't forget, I'm the 5th child, the youngest. My sisters tell me it's some things that, because it was just that era. My sister to this day say, Mama need counseling. She's never addressed anything that she's been through. I hear that she had molestation. I don't know. She's never talked to me about it. I don't know if my mom went through that. It's just that old folks closed mouth.
I don't want to do it on the show.
Okay.
I want to do it privately, because it's a lot.
And it is a lot.
And really the focus will be, of course, between you and your mom. Mm-hmm. But I really want to be able to just see you all face to face in your home, where it's intimate, where it's quiet, because there's a work that God wants to do. Mm-hmm. There is a work for the both of you all, because it says that your ladder will be greater. Your ladder will be greater. And right now, Father, oh God, right now, you're not at the full potential of being greater because of the things that are happening.
I agree with that. And I believe that I'm being bamboozled or deceived by the enemy, because in my mind, me and my mother, we have a wonderful relationship, but I believe it's surface. I
Yeah.
believe it's perfect. Think about that. I mean, like, that's my girl. We kick it. I take her with me everywhere. We're really close. She loves my children. We're very, very close. But certain things we don't talk about.
Yeah.
I think we have created this great relationship, but it's like that pink elephant in the room nobody talks about. But like, right, and you're right. So on the surface, we're great. We're this, we're that, we move forward. But is that true living? Because just like we both know, some need to be, some happen.
Right.
Some
Right.
happen.
It's underneath the rug and it's like the pink elephant in the room.
And
It's
we've
there, but
decorated and made it cute and pretty, right?
it's not being addressed. So definitely, and we need to do this soon, Brady. So whatever your time is and however you need to present it to your mother, but it can't keep going on.
That's
It can't
true. Thank you.
keep
And
going
it's
on.
the reason for this show. Thank you. Because I never thought about it like that. Had I not done this show, I wouldn't have even thought about it or been open to it. So thank you for being obedient to the Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
Because
And we
I
got some
just picture like it's normal. I have adopted a dysfunctional something and made it. It's okay. We're fine. We're okay. That's so many of us walking around, and I know you see that doing the work that you do. We think we're fine. We're okay. We made ourselves believe that or feel that we're okay when it's something.
And you know what, Brady? To be very open and transparent with you, I am sitting here with white knuckles. Like, I'm holding on because I'm just like, okay, God, before I do this show, I always pray.
Yes, you do.
I always empty myself before I do the show, not even with my guests, but just in my own prayer closet. After I do this show, and I just learned this through two people who told this to me, and even confirmation from the Holy Spirit, is that when you get done with this show, Ashley, because it's ministry,
It is.
He's shown me and gave me revelation of a deliverance ministry of setting people free. And he said, you after you do the show, you have to pray some things off of you. You have to get some things off of you because you don't want to carry that with you.
Yes, like a therapist, right?
Yeah, I found myself that after I do this show and people, say what they're going to say and it's coming across, that sometimes I come home drained. Sometimes I come home depressed.
Yeah.
And I know it's not me. I know it's not me because I don't have a reason to be.
So you think about what was said. You care about people and you think about what was said and you want to fix it. You want to help them. It's like a therapist, just like a therapist. At the end of the day, they have to digress and leave it there or it will eat you alive.
Yeah. So I want
to plan. I didn't become so heavy on you today.
No. It's okay. It's okay. And that's why it brings me to my next point. That's why the Holy Spirit had me to create the fire rapid questions, because they're icebreaker, light, funny questions. Like, after it becomes heavy, and some shows are not heavy and some shows are heavy, but he's like, do the fire rapid questions, save them at the end so it can lighten up the mood a little bit. Right. And before I go, because I do want to acknowledge people who are watching this, I have Miss I am Tanisha Earl. She says, if you take a child's voice, they may never get it back. Wow, powerful. Thank you for watching with us. Also, Mr. Hastings Kajoba Bawenali. I hope I'm pronouncing it right, but I know who you are. It says with you live from Malawi, Africa. Thank you so much for watching from Africa. And then, of course, I am Tanisha Earl says, switch gears, sis. Thank you for the encouragement. And then she also says, sis, you are helping. Thank you. She said also, yes, balance, sis, for you, Brady. And then that's good. And then she also said, do you feel worthy? She may not see the importance of it because it has been ignored for so long. Thank you so much for participating with these comments. But Brady, I definitely want to sit down with you and your mom at your home and just do the work of unpacking. I'm definitely going to go before the Father because I don't want to do anything without him. I just don't. And I can't afford to, because people's lives are in the balance. Souls are in the balance, and a responsibility, because to whom much is given, much is required. I don't know what God is doing. I don't know if it's now he's pushing me out like, okay, do it. Like, this is you, go, and it's kind of like,
we talked about that at the beginning, the resistance. Right.
Yeah. And I'm going to do it because I'm
And
going
I
to be
see it on your
obedient.
face. I see it, and I'm like, but I don't regret saying anything. Normally I do, but I don't. Mm-mm,
Yeah.
I
And so,
don't. It needed to be done. It's long overdue.
yeah.
I feel lighter.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel heavier. No, I'm just
See,
joking.
and
Brady,
I'm a
I'm just
people
playing.
lover. I feel bad. I don't want to
Don't
bring
feel
it.
bad. No, don't feel bad. Don't feel guilty. I'm just playing. I'm just being witty. I'm
Look,
just,
look, it feels heavier on you because you like, I got work to do. You
yeah,
got some work to
because
do. You got to help me.
I have to go pray and I have to seek the Father on what it
Okay.
is that He instructs me to do, what He wants me to do. And He told me, do a session with you and your mom. And so that's what I'm going to do. And however He does it, however He wants to do it, we're going to put it in His hands.
Mhm.
But to switch gears, to lighten the mood a little bit, first question, Brady, what is your favorite verse in the Bible?
My favorite verse in the Bible is Habakkuk 2:2. Write the vision and make it plain. I love to write. I write a lot. I've been since I was a little girl. I write everything down. Just write, write, write. Not necessarily journals, but like even okay. So here, this is stuff I've been writing all week. Things I need to get done. Right, no particular order. Write the vision, make it plain. I do believe that you have a stronger chance of it coming into fruition when you do that because
Okay.
you're saying it in your mind out loud and you're writing. So you're putting three things on it that trendy. You're putting three things on it. And he said, write it, give it to her. They're wrong. Come on. So that's my favorite verse.
And I'm going to say something else to that too. Before we meet, I want you to write everything of how you've been feeling
Okay.
between you and your mother, like things that she doesn't know about. I want you to write it all down.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give it to her. That's just your assignment to do, to write it all down.
Okay. Okay.
Number two, how do you get into the presence of the Lord?
In the morning is the best time for me when I first wake up. When I first wake up before I start out, as I'm getting out the bed, this is the day that the Lord had. I yell it, I scream it, I yell it loud as I can, because I feel like I'm filling up my house with it. This is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. I start from there, and then I immediately go into thankfulness, just being grateful. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Heavenly Father. Because for me, if I woke up, I truly believe if I woke up, there is still work to do. So like when I wake up, it's exciting because my time not up. I still get to live another day. So that's a privilege for me. I'm grateful for that. He didn't have to give me that.
Yeah.
So I
Number
set my
three.
tone in the morning.
Yes. Number three. What do you think heaven will be like?
Oh, I think heaven will be full of praise and worship. I think a lot of, and I could be wrong. I think of, hold on one second. Get your water bottle. I think a lot of answers will be made, a lot of clarity will be given, but at the same time maybe not, because you're in heaven, that won't matter. But I believe that a lot of things will be answered, or it will make sense. Those things like, why did my father get killed? Why did that have to happen when he was in my life? He was a good person. Why, when I was young, I was like, why would you take one of these deadbeats? That's how I felt. So I believe that heaven will be full of rejoicing and praising. I feel like we finally here, like super happy. God, I made it. I'm finally here. And I believe that our loved ones they'll be in perfect bodies.
Yeah. Number four, who would you like to meet in heaven? It could be from the Old Testament or New Testament.
Um, Abraham. Abraham's my favorite character in the Bible because I grew up. My sisters were so much older than me. I grew up as an only child, and Abraham is the only person God called friend, and I'm that friend. I'm the friend that's gonna ride with you to the end. I'm gonna give my life for you. I cherish friends. I'm closer to my friends than my siblings. Friendship is everything to me. I'm a good friend, and my friends are good to me, and I couldn't do it without my friends. So Abraham, to me, he speaks friend.
Number five, given the opportunity that you're face to face to God in an intimate, quiet setting, and He manifests Himself to you face to face, what would you say to Him? What would that conversation be like?
Um, I would start out with thank you. Very grateful. Thank you. because I know at the end it was all according to his will and to his plan and purpose. But I do have I was raised to not question God. I would just, but I want to know why some things happen. But I don't ask those questions because we're not supposed to question God. So I was torn with that. So I've learned what that really means. Not really asking God, but just talk to him. Just talk to him. So I would just come back with thankfulness. Thank you, because I know for a fact that regardless of whatever happens, he knew the end story. So if I can rest in, okay, he got the end. It just seems chaotic and crazy right now, but he know how it's going to play out, and I don't always rest in that.
Yeah. The show has come to an end, so I want to thank my guest, definitely Miss Brady, and I also want to thank the viewers for watching this. I hope that you share this so it can heal and it can begin the conversations that seem to be difficult, the things that we may not be able to verbally express to the people that are in our lives. But you have to start from somewhere. You
Right.
have to make up in your mind to say, you know what, the buck stops here, and I'm going to create and do something different for my life, for my children's life, even for my bloodline. I'm going to be the one to change the trajectory of what has been done before for some generations. And from here on out, it's going to be different for my children, and even so on and so forth for another 1,000 generations. And so I would encourage anyone that has watched this to really look within your own self, to really look at your own life and say, where has my trauma hit? What has happened to me? And maybe you do know, and maybe you don't know, but start at the root of, behaviors, patterns. Why are you so angry? Why do you self-medicate with the alcohol, with the drugs, with pornography, with being promiscuous? Whatever that thorn in your side is, whatever that root is, get to the bottom of it and just do the work. And if it's too much for you to tell someone, write it down in a journal. Get before the Lord and really allow him to unpack some things and really be open and ready to do the work. And I just want to say thank you all. I really, really appreciate this. Like I said, this is ministry for me. This is not creating a brand. This is not creating a name for myself. This is the work, the assignment, my kingdom assignment that God has called me to. I have my own plan, and he said, no, this is what you're going to do, because it's much deeper than what the eye meets. So thank you so much. I'm very grateful, and God bless you all. This Wednesday, I'll have another guest, and we'll just continue to do the work. So God bless you all, and you all be safe and take care.
Thank you, guys. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for allowing me to share my testimony on this platform, a wonderful platform. Thank you for letting the healing begin for me.
Amen.